You like the new way? Cool. I have no idea what it looks like, but I'm not sure. I think it's the probably the page that I designed. Really happy to be here. Things have been rough. Yeah, I feel like this week was really rough, like in the sense of like emotion being just kind of like overwhelmed and being like depressed. Excited to do this tonight, yay! And then also wanting to like murder. Like my dogs, they just sometimes are a lot, especially when you don't ever get away from them. It's like, I need a break or something, and they're freaking out and like, no, you can't do that right now. So I had a lot of energy, which kind of makes sense because Sekhmet is known for being, fierce, strong, powerful. She is the one that tried to eat everybody. She's all of the people that were, there for Ra. I guess he had like sent her in at one point and was like, hey, go, put them into their place. And she just kind of went crazy and decided that she was going to like kill everybody. So he ended up changing like the water. He made it like tinted red. And I think he used pomegranate or something and basically tricked her into thinking that was more blood. So she was like drinking it, but it was actually beer as well. So she got very drunk, fell asleep, passed out, and stopped killing everybody. And that's how they got her to chill. And it was funny because for some reason in my brain, I didn't think I had as many decks with her as I actually do. I have 4 here with her specifically. I for some reason only thought that there was going to be like 1. Strength. She's here as the sun in the goddess one that I have. Like this is a goddess tarot, and it the different tarot cards. So the sun, it's interesting because the sun is like the happiest card in the deck was what was, and it's like the light, and it's like the brilliant energy of the divine and clarity and illumination, and just like the opposite of like when you think of like I'm gonna kill everybody. That, and it says courage, light, and joy, time to dance in the sun. The beauty, the power of the sun is yours. Sekhmet shines on you to set new goals and celebrate your success. So it makes sense for that message, definitely. And I think she got a bad rap because of that. The one time we've all gotten drunk and done something stupid, I'm sure. I know I have for sure. Like done some stupid stuff when alcohol and the sun was involved. There was one day in particular I was on the beach and I'd gone out the night before drinking, and I did great the night before, but the next day I had already had that in my system. One drink, blacked out, fist fought a bunch of big guys, and that's all I remember was like that last sip of a drink and then like driving home. And that was not a good experience, but we don't, obviously I'm not still like that. I let that go. And so she's also about reduction in this deck, and in this one, this is the goddess and sirens. So this one will have like a little bit of a like an activation or something, like some sort of like affirmation for us to say, or a little type of ritual like an invocation. That's why I like this deck specifically for those purposes. But earlier I did allow myself to get like pulled to some information. So many synchronicities this week with different things in general. Like yesterday I was brought to something because of a post about an artifact from Egypt. It's actually a pyramid. I believe it was probably on top of a pyramid at some point. Like it's like a pyramid in itself, but it's not as big as a pyramid. And it's a meteor type of, element that was made into this. And it was like, it baffled the scientists because it's very easy to break it. It's not easy to shape it. So it's like, yeah, we can crumble it and break it very easily, but they had, molded it and they did their fine things on it and have it like looking all perfect. And it's not of this world. It's like a meteor. And it gives off energy, kind of like the things that, you know, different crystals do, or that the stone that I've been putting into like the things for the stuff that I like, the hands that I've been making. There's a specific stone that gets rid of the electromagnetic waves. There's stuff like that. It has that type of property. So it's baffled the scientists. They don't really understand how they made it and all of that. And I don't know what happened, but somebody commented like just a very like, you know, short sentence, and they were kind of being a dick, like, you know how some people are, like, oh blah blah, like what are you trying to say, that like aliens came and did that and then left? And I was like, who said they left? And then a huge thing came out of me that was like, it was like a novel. And I was talking about the Rh negative bloodline, and I was talking about, you know, just like how things have been suppressed, and Zechariah Stitchin, and like these ancient artifacts that I've seen in the past that were made out of basically meteorite, was like what was created, like bowls and things with the Orion's belt type of, you know, marks on it that glowed in the dark. And then a little thing that was like helping people, supposedly they thought it was used to help like give birth. And so I had like blah, 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 all this stuff. And then finally the guy came back like, you know, 2 days later and was like, oh, one thing he picked apart out of that massive thing was the fact that I had said in the Smithsonian, there's things that we don't get to see, like suppressed artifacts. I said that a lot of the things from the Bible have been suppressed in the Vatican, and a lot of the things from, you know, ancient artifacts all over the world have been put into the Smithsonian. And I don't know how many of you guys know of, you might have seen me working with Abby. Abby used to work at a museum where there was levels underneath the museum with access codes, and some people could go into some parts and some people could not. And she could go into some parts, but not others. And so there's, you know, there is suppressed stuff that we don't get. I know there's some stuff that's just, we're keeping it safe, but there's other stuff in there that we don't get to see. And that was the one thing he was like, oh, the Smithsonian, blah, blah, like trying to say that he's seen it all or whatever. And like, you know, give that whole, we're protecting it spiel. So I ended up going to look for those artifacts I was just talking about. And I ended up getting brought to this man's information because of the lion. Some of you may have seen me talk about when I did like the Coronanis thing. I had like this lion thing coming out of my chest, and then I had the phoenix thing like happening around them. So it's like this lion phoenix thing. I even have a picture that I've made of the two heads together. And I keep seeing this recurring lion and, you know, bird-like type of thing. And then on Lion's Gate, just recently, I saw a memory pop up from like the first year I lived here, did a fire ceremony in the yard. And in the fire, all of the people that were there could see the lion. And then it was like, oh, look, there's a phoenix and like a bird. So this recurring thing has been popping up. And he has this, you know, video posted about the lion and Taurus and the Pleiades and, you know, all that stuff. So I ended up clicking on his thing, and it brought together all of the synchronicity, all of the information, all of the stuff that has been like little bits and pieces for the last 11 years. It was like he just made sense of it all in one 10-minute video. And I was like, oh my God, my brain popped. The 27. He was saying 2027 is like first contact when we're going to get like, you know, very clear. Everybody on the planet can't deny anymore that there is other beings. And then 84. So on 2012, he had a satellite camera up because he was watching the sky to see if Nibiru was coming, that 12th planet that everybody was freaking out about from the Sumerians and the tablets and all of that. But he kept refreshing his, thing to watch this. And all of a sudden, 84 lakes appeared out of nowhere. 84 was the year I was born. So when I read that part, I'm like, 84. And then I go down, and 2027 is the year that like they had encoded into the message that was connected to that thing that he saw. And I was like, oh my God, because if anybody's seen anything I've shared for the last year, 27 has been just haunting me. And I knew it was connecting to the Pleiadians, but I didn't know in what way. But basically what he's saying is like there's star maps all over. There's star maps in the ancient Egypt, places. There's star maps on Mars. There's star maps that show us like these portals, and they are stargates basically. And it was like this. See how he's got the sun behind them, so it's like there's three suns. There's, the Vesica Pisces, which is two circles coming together, which also looks like the divine feminine's, Yuhuha coming through. And then there's the one that acts, and there's the divine feminine Huha. That's that center of the Vesica Pisces. And all of these things that we see in ancient Egypt, it's like the sun with the wings is basically a flying, object coming. And he was saying that basically we've come from the Pleiades here. We use Orion as like a way to figure our way through. He had so much stuff though that it was like, it wasn't just your run of the mill, like somebody like, just talking and not making any sense or not showing anything to back it up. Like the stuff that he could show and like, take that image and put it over another image and it lines up specifically and perfectly. Very good stuff. I will give you guys the links so you can go look at his videos. They're very good, and they're not like he breaks it down so you'll understand what he's talking about. And it's just been intense. And so the lion, again, she's the lion-headed goddess. She's also, tonight, when I went and looked specifically for her, I was brought to the Shakti, or the divine feminine, and the tantric energy, which has been coming up a lot too, which ties to the energy of, the tree of life. And in his stuff also, he was talking about the tree of life. He had a near-death experience, and when he did, he went to this place that was like the tree of life, but he felt like it was like the center of everything. Like this is where souls originate and leave and decide and do all their stuff, and they learn. And it's like this big tall thing with a bunch of stuff sticking off of it. It looks like the tree of life that you see depicted on a lot of stuff. So this other thing that I was watching about her, the guy was saying, like, they talk about how she was bloodthirsty and all of that. It ties into the divine feminine and like her cycle and her blood. And, we get a little, frustrated, or our emotions can come up at that time and we may be a little bit more angry. But she also embodied the energy of being fiercely loving and like a mother, like the lioness, they work together. They're the ones that hunt. They're the ones that like go out and do all the work, and they take care of the cubs. And the lion just sits his ass around doing nothing. And they go and they get all the food and they protect and work together in a community. So just as scary as they can be and as fierce as they can be loyal. They can be, very loving and very nurturing. And I feel like that's just an embodiment of divine feminine in her, true essence of duality and how we exist here on this planet. And here they have her listed as the Red Lady. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving it a voice. So again, this week I've had a lot of that happening where I'm like, I want to kill you. Like I literally just finished cleaning and I turn around and there's like, oh, what are you doing? Why would you do that? It's almost like you just want me to kill you. I feel like whenever I do things like this, there's almost an element of like having to go through or somewhat experience a little bit of whatever these people embody, or the messages that they carry. I've also been getting a lot of messages about forgiveness and about resentment, and how holding that anger and that resentment and those lower vibrations do absolutely nothing to like whoever we're mad at. It destroys us. It makes us sick. It makes us unwell and feel like shit. And then whoever we're mad at, or whoever we're resentful of, or whoever we're jealous of or angry, whatever we're feeling, they don't get any of the effects of it, but we can literally tear ourselves apart because of that. So that message had come up a lot, actually, and I even wrote out a big thing about it. And when I did, there was something that I had I wrote out this whole thing, and then I have the the app, something 27, which is to do with another form of astrology. And I showed her all her stuff in it because it's basically, it was weird. It was Abby. She becomes me in their astrology. Like she became Taurus with like the same rising sign and the same moon, like everything that I have in the like, you know, traditional astrology we use, she ended up adopting in that one. I paid for it so that I could like learn because it's got the naksharatas, it's the 27 moon cycles or the 27 moon something or other. It talks about goddesses and it's pretty involved. There's a lot to it. It's where is it? Align 27 is the name of it. It's got a planner and a discover and the transits and like in timing. Like I was laughing. I'm like, if anybody like really literally tried to do this, like I wouldn't be able to because they have like 5 times of like a day that could be, you know, a time that's this way, and then 10 times of a day that could be that way. And like, this is your golden moment. This is your quiet moment. This is your silence moment. This is a green day. This is an orange day. This is a red day. Like there's so many aspects of it that it's just like, whoa. And then they have a timeline on it. I'll be able to show you. Yeah, it's hard to show you guys anything on the camera for some reason. Right now is a golden moment from 8:30 to 9:30. I have a golden moment, and then after that is a silence moment. Today's a green day, so it's a power day. Make the most of it. And then there's a cosmic timeline where it's like up and down, up and down. There's neutral times, be aware times, and then excellent times, and then upcoming transits for like the months ahead, rituals to do, mantras to do, and then a bunch of add-ons about your personality and all of these things. Because I paid for it, I could add her onto mine and find out all of her stuff within it. But when I was, you know, connecting with this, I had just written that thing, started to record the video for her to do her little thing. And within whatever transit or whatever she had, was specifically talking about forgiveness and resentment and blah, 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 and like all of that. And I literally just stopped to read what I had written because it was like word for word synchronicity. So I've been noticing a lot of that stuff happening. So Lilith has been coming up a lot too. The first woman, she's the next one that I'm going to be working with. Specifically, huge stuff coming up with her. So Lilith is the divine feminine. She and Adam were the first two here, supposedly on Earth. And then because she was like, you, Adam, I'm out of here, they brought in Eve because Eve would submit. Eve would let Adam be on top while they were, you know, getting busy and all of that. And she basically was like, nah, I'm going to go my own way. So she comes in to help the divine feminine to understand what she needs to heal. So I looked deeper into this week because I was getting the message of like masculine part or our past life or our shamanic initiation into healing. So that will definitely be something you'd want to look specific for the divine feminine. She's like the shadow aspect of us. So that's been something significant coming through. It says, I am the voice of my body and soul. I choose the life that I desire to live. So I feel like the shadow is coming up right now. The anger is coming up. The things that we need to reduce in our lives. Like we're getting clarity and figuring it out so that we can have justice. And Ma'at is here. Ma'at is another Egyptian goddess. And she was also in a picture of her that somebody actually drew for me, is like a great artist. And so when she did, she got Ma'at with the scale, with the feather. And the feather message was basically, when you go to the end of your life, at the end, when you go into like, go through the you know, journey of the afterlife, they're going to weigh your heart to see if it's as light as a feather. Did you do what you needed to do, or did you like let yourself hold on to resentment and anger and frustration, all that shit? And this says this situation will be handled in a fair and just manner, and says justice for her specifically. So I do feel like this energy is present for all people, like who let it go, who don't go that bloodlust route of like, let me kill everybody in my path, or let me just become insanely angry forever and not let it go. So if you can find the strength and be strong, and you are stronger than you think you are, and your strength will ensure a happy outcome, to find that sun, that illumination, that light, that beauty that everybody wants. When you think of the sun, it's a bright future with Lakshmi. Lakshmi was one of the goddesses we had right before now. And it says, stop worrying. Everything is going to be fine. So whatever you may be worried about, whatever you might have coming up inside of you, just went retrograde. That's like a chaos bringer. We can have this bright light in our lives. We can have that justice. Whatever's been done that was not great, when we get to the end of the road, we're not going to be the one that's like, oh shit, I was an asshole and I did those bad things, unless we allow ourselves to go there. But just know that whatever's happened, you holding on to anything connected to it is not going to serve. This is another synchronicity that's been showing up a lot. It was like, if we want justice, we need to be able to embrace that Lilith part of us that's like, you know what? I'm not going to submit. I'm not going to be here through the shit show, waste my life, or be treated in a certain way, or just put myself on hold and allow things to pass me by because I'm, maybe devoted or not strong enough to walk away from something I should. And Nut is here, and that's another ancient Egyptian, and it's the star. In the starry night, hope to clarity, music of the universe, beauty and hope after troubled times. If you've been unwell or had a setback, now is the time to trust and hope all is well. So again, these Egyptian goddesses, I feel like, are coming through to basically say, things are going to be okay. The light is going to come. Your wishes will be manifested. It may not be exactly as we thought it was going to be, or may not look exactly as we thought or wanted it to look. Or even maybe it will look as we thought it or want it to look, but it may be in a different place or with a different person or with a different outcome that's actually better suited for us. Lilith is also in this deck, and it says complete wholeness, the soul of the world, bringing together energies and integrating all aspects of yourself into the whole human, integrated human, and that's the world, which is the end of a cycle. It's that completion. And Lakshmi is here with the King of Pentacles, which is luck and fortune, prosperity and wealth. You are open to following your divine purpose with commitment. She will guide and mentor to bless you. You'll have the Midas touch to great wealth, and the projects that you work on will have great rewards. So if you're doing hard work on projects, they will come to fruition. I feel like we do have a brighter future. We do have a more balanced situation coming about. And we are reducing the things in our world that aren't serving us so that can be happening. And I brought these over. I'm not even sure what the ritual is in here, but when I saw that I had dragon's blood candle and dragon blood's oil, and I know she's the bloodlust lady, I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I brought those over for us to use as part of the work that we'll do tonight energetically. It carries the vibration of the Lyrans for me because of that half feline, half lion energy. This is literally like what a Lyran would be like. And this is what those ancient Egyptian statues look like. They have that feline head and the human body. And then I was going to have us, think of 8 things that we are ready to get rid of, or reduce, or reduction, basically. Yeah, reduction was with this one. So what we want to take out of our lives, what we want to get rid of, what we want to give to her, because she has that fire in her belly to be like, bleh. So we're going to reduce those things that do not serve. And then 8 things that we would like to manifest into our lives, into our bright future, into our healing, into our journey, affirming it, believing it, attracting it, thinking it, speaking it, visualizing it. And the guy that I was guided to this week as well, which has been helping me a lot with the whole, hey, don't go kill anybody. Hey, chill out, man. It's not worth it, man. Basically, he's a guy that he does like quantum physics, and his whole thing is about embodying love and letting go of the stuff that we get into our heads about so that we can have abundance and good stuff. Louis Hose has an interview with him, which is 2 hours long, but it's Joe Dispenza. And he does a lot of the same stuff that, like, you're the creator of your reality, thinking positively will be very life-changing. And there's people who go to his events or read his book and heal cancer, or they heal tremendous things that, like, otherwise probably would not have happened, through the power of their mind, through the power of love, through the power of acceptance, and just healing and releasing and letting those things go. They transform, they become abundant and happy and healthy. And it's usually the reduction of the idea that we're holding on to, the belief that we have inside of ourselves of, like, I need that person in order to feel complete, or I need that thing so that I can be happy. I need that money or that job or that person, whatever it is. It's always out there. It's not right here. And until we are, like, looking right here and being like, I am grateful and abundant and happy and loved and supported and enough and worthy and beautiful and amazing and healthy, until we believe that and think that and trick our mind out of the false, bad, it's going to be very difficult, and it will always be in the future, or always some other thing that's, like, unattainable. So his stuff is more so being in that moment and accepting fully in that moment, and through gratitude, through love, through that acceptance, transforming. And some people transform instantly on the spot. So with the Sekhmet reduction, it says, allow what you no longer need to be destroyed or reduced. Build your emotional authenticity. You are protected when expressing your true emotions in appropriate ways. And imagine a goddess of the most incredible heat. Her breath itself created the desert, and her eyes are full of fire. Imagine that this goddess contains the energy of the mightiest of cats, the lion. She shares a fierce, feline, proud, royal nature. If you can imagine a goddess like this, then you've glimpsed the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet. Sekhmet protected the pharaoh and his people, and particularly during war. Warriors invoked her bloodlust and wild energy prior to engaging the enemy. Once the fight ended, her priestess performed a series of rituals designed to placate her immense energies, normally involving the element of fire. One story says that once, after winning a terrible battle, Sekhmet maintained her battle rage bloodlust. She looked around and maintained and wished to spill more blood, and the people trembled, and the gods noticed, and the god Ra turned the Nile red so that it looked like blood, and invited Sekhmet to quench her thirst. She drank and drank, curbing her bloodlust. With an echoing roar of her lion's head, Sekhmet steps into your life, asking you to burn away what it is that you don't need. The fierce yet compassionate goddess can help you healthily release emotions that have negative connotations but are not actually negative, like anger. Where we aren't always taught how to healthily deal with sadness, anger, depression, or even jealousy, but they aren't strange or unnatural emotions. In fact, everyone feels them at some point or another. But how we express them is what makes the difference. So in accepting those emotions, expressing them in a healthy way, we are able to release them and move on. And by surrendering what no longer we wish to possess, Sekhmet, to her cleansing fires, you free yourself and are more able to move forward. So the shadow side is, if we try to suppress or deny our emotions, we may express them later in an inappropriate way. For example, those of us who repress anger often explode with rage, completely different circumstances. Developing an emotional authenticity is an important tool in combating those behaviors. So if you're going somewhere every day and you're dealing with somebody that pisses you off, and it's like building and building and building, because you're not authentically expressing, verbalizing any boundary, or, telling that person, hey, this is making me upset, I'm not enjoying this. Sometimes what happens is, like, the craziest, littlest thing somewhere else with somebody that you don't feel that, like, weirdness with, usually somebody you don't want to blow up on, like a parent or somebody that you care about. They, like, left the door to something open and the milk out, and you just you flip out, cry and scream and freak to an extreme, and they're like, what the hell? That's what happens when we don't authentically express the anger. And it won't get to that point when we do. but everybody's afraid of ruffling feathers. Everybody's afraid of speaking up when those things happen. And I get it, because I've been that way my whole life. I've, suppressed or tried to be like, accommodating or forgiving and accepting. And in the spiritual community, there is a big emphasis on, oh, just love, unconditional love, just forgive, which is, we want to do that so we don't harbor it for ourselves. But if we don't let it get there in the first place, that's much more of a feat than letting it build and harbor to begin with. So by expressing when something is not right, or stopping when something's not right, sooner rather than later, if we have an ongoing problem, or a narcissistic, abusive person, or somebody that we know consistently doesn't treat us well or makes us feel badly, those are the times that we would want to be like, okay, I'm going to find that strength and reduce that shit from my life, so that when I get to the end of my life, my heart is light as a feather, and it's not all from, staying around here too long or doing things that I don't like. And I've definitely tried to embody more of that. And I feel like people are going to be getting that push even more so right now, with the energies that are shifting, the planetary stuff that's happening. If you are dealing with stuff that's just not serving you, you're probably going to notice it, especially if it's like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or I'm not who I really truly am at my core. I'm not speaking that and owning that and verbalizing that. I'm not happy. Then I'm not serving me, and I'm not serving the collective, and that's got to change. And when we don't change it ourselves, a lot of times shit hits the fan, and then it gets like, oh shit, now I've got to change because everything's falling apart for me. So the symbols for her are the lion's head, the wadjet, the fire, the color red and black, the Rosetta pattern over the chest, and the page number is 144, which just felt like another synchronicity. And so there is an invocation. Oh, look at that. Light a red candle. This is red. I swear to God, I didn't read this before. And know that anything you choose to give to the wall will be consumed and reduced. Notice that the goddess Sekhmet will be coming in, and then she breathes on the fire on the wall, and the flames increase. She gestures for you to release what you no longer need to the flames. Tell Sekhmet what that is, and as you do, the words will form a symbol or something that only you in Sekhmet can see. So it could be anything. Don't try to judge it. Just see whatever comes up, like in your mind's eye, or maybe you just know, like, I'm creating like a wheelbarrow. Like, it could be anything. For me, a lot of times I don't see with my like third eye, but I'll know like the image. Some people will hear, some people will feel. It just depends on the gift. This past couple of weeks, what I have noticed is I am seeing. I closed my eyes recently, and I was shown in all red letters, kidneys. And I was like, oh my God. Like, why are you doing that? That's messed up, guys. I never see shit, and you're going to do that. And like, I don't know what it's connected to. But then like the next day, I was brought to information that I've kept getting brought to that was connected to somebody I know, and what they're going through and what they're dealing with. And there's been lies, and they don't realize what the lie is and all of that. And so, totally unrelated thing. I'm like, why is this here? It ended up bringing me to a news article about extended use of this thing will cause kidney failure. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So then after that, I was seeing, like a couple of days later, I closed my eyes, and it was right after I talked about the Rh negative blood factor and all of those things to do with that. I was in blood, but I wasn't like, covered in blood, like in a weird way. I was in the blood of like a vein, like that's normal, the normal way to be it. So I was in the vein, and I was like going through this blood of the body and just moving through. And there was like a little bit of a buildup in there, and it was like we just busted through and cleared that out, healed it. And then a little bit further in was like more buildup, a little bit harder to get through, but we could get through it. It just took more effort, more focus. But it's definitely been interesting to see how much time and how many synchronicities have been tied to blood since, I knew I was going to work with Sekhmet last month. I just hadn't put out the date or the time yet because I was having a lot of emotional stuff. Wasn't feeling at my top of the game, and I was like, I don't even know. So I wasn't sure. But seeing like those blood connections, the kidney things, these signs are coming. I feel like our gifts are also increasing right now. So you could be somebody that doesn't usually see, you might see something. Or if you don't normally, have anything happen, you might start to embrace that. And again, beliefs are very strong. So if I'm constantly affirming, I don't see, I never see, then I'm not going to see. But if I can, realize and acknowledge, like, I have seen before and I can probably see again, or maybe just give myself that time to see, because I never just break and take my time off to do those. Go into meditation more often, spend more time focusing on that and shifting those beliefs. That's going to create a conducive environment for those things to happen. So if you're somebody that has struggled with meditation or anything that you would like to have happen, try not to tell yourself that reality of, I don't get this doesn't happen for me, I never see, I never have, it don't work for me, or whatever it is you're saying, and flip the script, write it in a new way. Scripting has been very potent, powerful tool, to the point where I was like, I don't want to abuse it, like, because of how quickly things were manifesting. And everything I've put into my decks of cards, I've noticed, has manifested. Like, I wrote out something, it was like that happened in my life at some point from the time of creating those cards. So whatever we write, whatever we think, whatever we speak, whatever we feel, we usually are attracting it right back to us. Okay, so we call on her, we bring her in, do that with the symbol. You will hold the symbol in your hand for a moment, and then you throw it towards the fire wall. The wall will consume it, and the issues will be reduced and burned away completely. And that's when you thank the goddess and offer her a gift, and she accepts it, and she may give you a further message to act on. And as you watch, the wall reduces to one single flame, and then again, Sekhmet will back into the darkness, and you can allow yourself to come back to the room slowly, staring at the flame. Say, "Great lion goddess Sekhmet, your breath like fire, your eyes golden in the sun. I am grateful for your attention, great one." Blowing out the candle with a thank you. And you might like to leave Sekhmet a small offering on your altar afterward, perhaps something red or orange in the color. And that's it for that one. So that's a pretty easy thing anybody can do. If you don't have a red candle, you could like get like say it's like a small candle, you could put it inside of like a red cup, or put something red nearby, or just call in the energy, the vibration, and frequency. When I open the vortex, I can call in a color, I can call in a frequency, I can call in an oil. So you could call in blood, dragon's blood, or whatever you want. But I do specifically do that when I don't have an item that is being asked for. And just make things your own too. And the biggest thing in any of our stuff, whatever we're doing, is intention. So if your intention is to connect with Sekhmet, release stuff, say thank you, you want to give her a blue thing, it's totally fine. Like, don't ever not do something based out of the fact that, like, oh, I don't have that thing right here, because you probably will never do it or get it, and it will just sit there and fester. Other deck here, the Divine Feminine. Like, some of them are like, oh yeah, we're gonna put it in order, and others are like, no, we're just gonna randomly shove them in here. Good luck. No numbers, no alphabetical order, just random names. There she is. That's when I know it's like aligned. So Sekhmet represents a sacred rage that keeps us protected and reminds us of our pure strength of the female power. An Egyptian warrior goddess with the head of a lioness and the body of a woman. The lion was considered the fiercest hunter in Egypt and a sign of protection. She is the daughter of the sun god Ra. The red solar disk that she wears indicates that she is a solar deity. She is known as the powerful one, the Red Lady, she who mauls, and the one before whom evil trembles. Ancient Egyptians held rituals at the end of the war and at the beginning of each new year to tame the wrath of Sekhmet. They would play music and drink beer that was dyed with pomegranate juice, and then dress all of the Sekhmet statues in red. It was believed that the inebriation would lull the goddess into a stupor and end the destruction. Sekhmet was a powerful guardian and a protector of the pharaoh, and she was called on during the times of war and considered to be a goddess of divine retribution. So when your soul elects her, holy rage, sacred anger, positive aggression, the states of being are crucial aspects of the divine feminine. It is the female power that ends wars, that brings home missing children, that seeks justice for the earth and for those who can't defend themselves. The brilliant artist and mystic William Blake relates to the voice of honest indignation in the voice of God. The feminine has for too long been disassociated from rage and anger. If we can't embody the fiery emotion of anger, it often festers or expresses itself in subversive, manipulative ways, or it leaves us anxious and frustrated. The positive aggression, acting with love on behalf of what breaks our hearts or enrages us, is what allows us to become agents of change and to better our lives in the world around us. Sekhmet wants us to become and come face to face with our true strength. Power doesn't come from passive aggressive behavior. We don't have to fear expressing our anger directly to an institution or a person who is acting unjustly. Sekhmet wants us to see that the anger is an essential emotion, and Sekhmet is the sacred call to move that anger from pure emotion to conscious action. She wants us to act with our conviction and from love, and she wants us to create the healthy boundaries that we need so we aren't injured again and again, or so that we can free ourselves from a destructive pattern. It's time to end. We have a divine right to draw a sacred circle around us at all times. The protection that we invoke for ourselves and others helps us from feeling helpless to taking loving action. So the soul voice meditation is, where can I create loving boundaries in my life? And the intention is, I am pure strength and I honor my anger by giving voice to it. So again, like I don't know all of you guys, personally, like on the level that I know some, and I know some of you have definitely been through this firsthand, where there's anger and there's stuff going on that's not right. It's not just like I get angry for these people, and I'm like, I'm like, no, and I do that a lot for people who come to different things, and I hear about like what's going on in their life and what this person's doing and that person's doing, what this one said, and I see like that need for freaking justice and that need for balance, and also that need for us to be like, no, I'm not going to let that happen anymore. So just as much as we, will have justice be brought to us because it's just the right thing to happen after people be, bad, but we don't want to wait around, and we can't really do that either, because like, what are you going to do? Wait till you're dead and then be like, thanks guys, like I'm gonna live the rest of my life feeling like shit. I'm gonna let people walk all over me, come and go, play games with my emotions, treat me like whatever, and then at the end when I'm dead, my feather will be okay or whatever, but it won't be, because you wouldn't have been happy. You wouldn't have been embracing your joy and your light and the good stuff. Like sometimes we've got that anger so that we can have that other stuff. Is duality. We can be fierce and raw, and also embody love and peace. And we don't have to go be a psycho to have the anger. You could just let that anger fuel what you're going to say or what you're going to do, the action you're going to take, because eventually it will probably lead to somebody doing something when it's bad enough, or it breaks us down to the point where it's like we can't function anymore. So then something else happens where something steps in, removes us from the situation. You have a mental breakdown. You just like, and that's no way to go about it either. So, because then you're, starting from a place that's really difficult to come back from. But if we just honor that part of us that knows when something's not right, and I know it's hard with like narcissistic abuse because we get gaslighted or we get told things, and again it comes back to those beliefs. Like, one of the things that I've not liked about twin flame community people is the fact of like, but it's my twin flame. He ghosted me, he cheated on me, he lied to me, he kept this like whole family and all this other stuff a secret for 5 years, and then like blah blah blah, but he's my twin flame. And it creates like a free pass almost to be horrible, because that other half of the like, oh, but embody uncut, you can love somebody and know that they're being a piece of shit and say, I'm not going to let you do that anymore because I deserve better. And if we want someone to treat us better and they're our mirror, if we're not treating ourselves with the boundaries and the respect and the love and like all of those things that are necessary for somebody else to see the value of us, then they can't mirror that to us. So if we want to be the Queen of Pentacles or the Empress or the Pre-Empress or whoever, that single confident, Lilith energy of like, I'm going to embrace all parts of me. I'm not going to submit to you just because of who you are. I'm going to be my own power, and I'm going to find that strength to dig deep and do what I need to do to reduce people out of my life that aren't serving me in the way, so that chapter, that world can close and a new one can be written in a place of fairness and balance, justice, like good stuff happening. That sun is the divine masculine energy too, which divine masculine, so many times people are telling me about like their person is not divine. It's like, I don't even want to call it that. I want to call it like douche masculine. It's not nice. It's like the opposite of it, but it's also a test. It's the karma. It's the, are you going to allow this person to treat you that way? And it may not show up from a man or, in that dynamic. I just know a lot of people have had that. It could be at work. It could be at home. It could be your, friends. It could be your people that you just like have had around so long and have treated you in a way for so many years that you kind of stop seeing it, or even fighting against it. Like, I've seen a lot of that even in my family, like, and then it passed down. It was like my mother had been through abuse, so she kind of became like narcissist out of like the abuse that she endured. It was like, my wounds made me mean, but then I'm going to be mean to you, so now you're going to have to go through that and deal with that, and woo. And then because you went through that, you're going to attract those romantic partners that are also like that, because that's what and we attract, or we emanate and we go towards what we know rather than what is good for us or healthy. So we get used to stuff, the vibration of it. This is familiar. I'm going to be around here where I'm treated in a certain way. Like, I started seeing themes where, somebody had been ghosting me. My mother used to ghost me. Like, if I said something she didn't like, she would just not text me back or not call me back, just disappear for a while. And other things like that was like these common themes. The guy that I lived with for 10 years, like I wasn't living with him for 10 years, but I was there for a while. Him and her were so much alike. They were closer in age. They were both like Aries. They both would eat the same food, and they would both like hate each other, but like team up together whenever together. But they also do a thing where it was like they would point it was like in a way that made you think you're crazy, or that you were overreacting, or that's not really what happened, to the point where I would question reality. Like 3D saw stuff, like he has a tattoo of his kid's name. There's my pillow, my pillowcase, my different comforter that's not the same as the pillowcase. Those two things happen to be on the bed with his arm. And this girl that he was cheating on me with had taken a picture in that setting in my fucking bedroom and posted it on Facebook. And I somehow was like, yeah, maybe someone else in the world has that tattoo and that pillow and that pillowcase and that comforter that, they just mix together at the same time too. Like, but that's the power of manipulation and beliefs, and also denial, or making it like, oh, this is just easier not to fucking fight, or not to speak my truth, or to not have those boundaries, or say enough's enough, or to walk away from this person that's treating me this way, because the rejection, or the like throw away, the discard part that they do to you makes you want them to want you, or makes you want to be like the number one person that they're treating badly over the one that they discarded completely. It's very toxic. There's levels and layers to it, but it happens with family members, friends, men, women, all types of ways. And we can gaslight ourselves and manipulate ourselves to be in these things that are not fair, just, or balanced. But if we want those things to happen where, we get away from that stuff and break free, we got to dig deep into that fire. Bridget is here saying, using like the inspiration, medicine, arts and crafts, cycles of wisdom, excellent perfection, high intelligence, poetic eloquence, craftsmanship, and the healing ability with a druidic knowledge and skill for the initiation into greater inspiration and shamanic knowledge, with the Page of Wands, which is creative energy. So this is something I do a lot. Like I will write a poem, or I will make something like with my hands, or I draw, or just, there's so many things that are very creative, and the Page of Wands energy is very creative. So take whatever you've been through that may have been kind of difficult or dark or not the best situation, and then allow yourself to channel that into something else, like light language or singing or dancing or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But just try to honor the truth inside of you and channel your energy into something that's like, oh, wow, this is a beautiful thing to create, because that also helps us reduce those negatives from our life and have a better outcome. And then forgive, because I know forgiveness has been big for me with my mother, specifically forgiving her for, her part within certain things. And like, oh, but if she, didn't do that, like I caught myself the other day when I was a kid. I was like, I want to drop out of high school. And I really didn't believe that she was going to be like, okay, no problem, like not give me any, resistance. But she didn't. So I was like, oh shit. Like I had to, I didn't have to, but in my brain, because I'm freaking, stubborn weirdo, was like, all right, I guess I'm dropping out of school. But if she had just been like, no, I probably would have continued. But, I can't blame her for that. It was my decision. She just chose not to fight me on it. And I should have decided, my best situation for myself based off of what was my best situation. But everything happens for a reason. So I'm sure there's a good thing that happened as a result of all of that. And the morning star here is the Venus energy too, which this is what connected me from the start to even do this type of stuff. And this is Queen Esther, the morning star, which there is, Venus is the morning star and the evening star. It's the same star. But back in the day, they didn't realize that. It was like, oh, like the evening and night, like it's Venus. It's not even a star. But the ancients didn't know that. So this is, my ego is in service of my soul, and I trust my soul's divine timing. So if things are not, where you wanted them to be, or something's not manifesting as quickly, or you feel like you're behind in some way, or whatever thing that you could be telling yourself, try not to, think that way about stuff, because we all get to where we need to be when we need to be there. And Lakshmi again is, I choose to feel abundant, and wealth is an inside job. So if you're needing abundance, embrace it now, as if you've already got it. And so again, I'm going to do this activation part for you guys with Sekhmet and the candle. And I did put out in the email that I had sent out like 8 different things that we could think of that we want to, release. And I'll probably just list off some stuff, and then 8 things that I want to bring in. But you're welcome to set that intention, or think about those things now. Like, what do I really need to let go of? Is there somebody in your life that's blocking you, or something in your life that that being strong, or embodying and voicing your anger can bring you to a brighter, more abundant future? Or is there somewhere that you could get creative and channel your energy that may end up, serving you in a better way without having any passive aggressive stuff going on or any weirdness that we can sometimes do. Today's Serapis Bey had come through before I even started. He's another Egyptian guy here. And his is Ascension. Move into your true self. Rise above the darkness. The light is here. So again, synchronicity, a lot of confirmations coming in different ways from all of the guides and all the beings, usually. Did anybody have anything you wanted to share or anything that you wanted to say about, all of that information that I just kind of blah, or do you feel like you understand, or is there anything that's been kind of difficult for you that you would want me to like specifically keep in mind while I'm calling in that fire from Sekhmet and the reduction of the difficult or the painful or the asshole peoples in our lives? I know one of you particularly, I know your situation, so I will in my mind be like about it so that the best outcome can manifest. And for anybody else that is here, I always intend that the highest and best outcome manifests for all peeps. This place that I got these candles from, they have like I don't know what, it's like an extra thing of stuff that they put in there. Looking at earlier with the stargates and those portals and everything too, there was a lot of like that Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. There was the lion, and there was the bird, and there was the Taurus bull, and then like angel was like depicted on all of them. And then like the Mayan calendars, that round thing, it was like basically saying like those are the stargates. And then I pulled this out to look at it, and it was like it this doesn't do justice in the lighting, but this is literally like the Ouroboros, which is the serpent eating its own tail. It's like outline here. Let me see. See, there's like the round circle there, and then there was like all these marks around it. He was also talking about Atlantis, where he believed that like a meteor came into the earth, and there's still parts, like if you look at the Google Earth, where there's like under the ocean, there's like this ridge that rose up, and like this thing basically looks like that on this side of it. My dog brought me this years ago before I started the Moon Key rites. It was in the yard, like in our pool yard. She brought it in, and I was like, wow, that's different. And I held on to it, and the next day somebody was like, hey, listen to this video. And it was about the Moon Key. She's like, you need to get a round stone. I'm like, oh. And I did. And then I found out like traditionally what they use is the pie stone, which is literally the same size as this. So it was like my own pie stone showed up for me to do the Moon Key rites. But then today it came back up. I sent this to my dad because I showed him the video that I had watched earlier. And he was like, oh my God. Like it was almost like a little version of what was on the screen being shown for those star maps and the stuff that guy was showing. So it was really cool. Just more synchronicity and weird stuff. I have negative attachments to people and an old belief system. I think that we pretty much all can benefit from that. We think about it when you go to bed at night, or like if you watch TV at the end of the day when you're tired. That's like the perfect time, because like when we go to meditation, we close our eyes and we disconnect from looking at everything. We take our brain from like the full-on distraction mode to like, more of that relaxed mode where we become easier to inform and change the stuff up in there. So if you watch TV at the end of the night, you're like falling asleep, all that shit of like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, do you do this? Do you do that? Eat this bad shit. Do that bad thing. You're gonna die. Like, just constantly bombarding people. There's a lot of different ways that it comes through. Different levels, unfortunately. But being aware of it is like, the first part that's like, oh, now I can overcome that. I'm going to put you guys in a way that you can see this a little bit better. Okay. We've got our candle. This is also dragon's blood oil. So the energy and vibration and frequency of all of that. I've got my bell. I now ask to open the vortex of divine light as we call on the emissaries and the energies of the ancient and the divine. And allow the outside world to slow down. Bring the awareness within and relax. Any stress, any fear, any doubt, any darkness, low vibrations, anger to the earth, through all the layers, the inner sacred, the warrior, the woman, breathe in the light and embraces the dark. Allow your heart to call to the love that you wish to embody and embrace, to attract and create in your life. Honor and respect. For Sekhmet to join the space with your heart open, visualizing. We ignite this light and we ask that you are in the womb of Gaia. You may feel your own womb and your own energy and the serpent that is coiled at the base of your spine, and the necessity or the need to shed the skin so that you may grow energies and the stagnancy that has kept you coiled and stuck. That sacred, divine, figure 8, up and around to the enlightenment, for the clarity and all of the divine feminine God from those mystery schools and those ancient places that are in your blood, cleansing you from within, is symbolic of a sacred journey through life. As you shed the layers within, allow yourself to see and shed the layers external, using the method, the visualization, the speaking, to allow that serpent to rise, the energies that would like to be released, the false illusions, the stagnant, expression, divine love. Know that she will be with you from now, but for now she will return into the shadow. We can say, Great Lion Goddess, and feel your gratitude, feel your thanks. And I have carnelian inside of this divine feminine goddess with the pregnant belly, which makes a nice offering. It's got the carnelian, which is orange, and it's a reddish color. Fertile fertility crystals. And that is our connection to Sekhmet. Gaia's creation. Hera is here with the water. She says, order in marriage and structure, loving relationships, innocence, courtship, jealousy, betrayal, bitterness, separation, but reconciliation, union, wise, compassionate, loving, loyal, forgiving, strong heart, King of Cups energy. So I feel like because we just worked with the fire and all that, it was kind of like that passionate, King of Wands vibration. I feel like the waters will be coming in now for creation to kind of balance that out and to help us continuing to cleanse like our emotions and release. Ixchel is somebody that I plan to work with. I had planned to do one of these events with her, but it didn't work out at the time. So I was just going to record one on my own and post it. And I did do a Lakshmi event, but the night that we did it kind of like steered into like a whole other place. And so I've got her to do as well. But I feel like she probably will be the next one since she's popping up here with release. So continuing allowing us to release whatever has not been serving us. And there's Lakshmi, who again, maybe I'll do them both at the same time because like they were in order of each other. Like it was going to be Lakshmi, then Ixchel. And then I took some time off with something that happened with a person that I know, like in the community. It's kind of like threw off all the energies, but I feel like doing these two together might work. Releasing Ixchel also works with the Jaguar and that energy of, that fierceness that we kind of just work. They all kind of feel like the same almost. Like when you look at it from like a grander scale or one being, one woman, one divine feminine, expressing ourselves over and over. And there she is again, Lakshmi. So I'm going to say Lakshmi and Ixchel want to be worked with together. So I'm probably going to do that and just listen to the intuition, because if not, they'll just keep showing me it over and over until I do it. So anything else I could assist you with or anything at all? I always feel weird when it's like I can't talk to you guys or hear you back. Thank you, Bridget. That was amazing and super powerful. Awesome. I always let guilt keep me stuck for too long, and that's never a good thing. That was really powerful. I felt a lot of releasing. Thank you. Awesome sauce. Yay. It's kind of this is kind of like when I used to do the events at a center and everybody would be in the room with me and I would, do it with them individually. Like I would like play the gongs and all that stuff, but I'd go around and like do hands-on or like channel a message into someone's ear and take them on a journey for like 2 hours. And then I haven't been able to do that because of the setup of being online, but I have been thinking of doing some sort of event or something, or maybe traveling to other places where people own a center or people know of a place that's like they can make it so that it makes sense for me to go. Like, oh yeah, we'll get like 10 people to come that night, and you come to where I live, and I could do that, like, and then go see people, because it's totally different in person with the sound. Like, just the drum alone is like, it's night and day on recording. And gongs are an amazing tool, but I feel like that is something that will happen at some point, just because of all the people that are across the world. Like, I keep getting people in Egypt right now. I'm like, yeah, I'll go there. Let's go. I'll go to the pyramid. But yeah, and I've had people ask me to Hawaii. So anywhere like that, I'm good. If you guys know of somebody that wants to have a night where we connect and do like a sacred meditation, I'll come. Because I like that. And I think everybody else would too. Thank you again for joining me. I will be back next month to do Lilith, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be kind of like intense, we'll say. Okay? So thank you, and I will see you soon. Looking forward to awesome sauce. Thank you. Have a good night.